Former Speaker Kevin McCarthy went after Representative Nancy Mace during a Capitol Hill visit on Tuesday, saying she needs to straighten out her life. Mace, one of the 8 GOP lawmakers who voted to oust McCarthy as Speaker last year, is facing a tough primary challenge from her former chief of staff, and reportedly suffers from an office staff in turmoil. I hope Nancy gets the help she needs. I really do, McCarthy told reporters. I just hope she gets the help to straighten out her life. I mean, she's got a lot of challengers. A lot of challenges. No one will stay working for her, he continued. You can't have somebody who just flips and flops based upon what TV station she gets put on. You want someone who's willing to work, and so I hope she gets that kind of help. McCarthy resigned from the House in December after losing the speakership in October. He said he plans to campaign for GOP candidates 2024 cycle. Despite saying he's not rooting against Mace, he did not rule out backing challengers to incumbent Republicans, including Mace. I didn't say that, McCarthy jokingly said when asked about staying out of her primary. McCarthy also made jabs at Representative Matt Gaetz, who led the GOP opposition to his speakership. He probably lies about who he sleeps with, McCarthy said, adding that Gaetz and former President Trump aren't as close as Gaetz leads people to believe. So I read this article in advance, and Gaetz has a statement to the Hill where he says that, McCarthy is lying on me because Trump told me to go and campaign for him in Iowa and New Hampshire, but he didn't tell McCarthy to campaign for him because McCarthy knows that if Trump were to ask him to campaign for him, he would be booed anywhere he goes. So I'm not really that interested in seeing their back and forth. But what I do find interesting about this story is the idea that the former Speaker of the House, who just randomly was on Capitol Hill on Tuesday for whatever reason, is like, oh yeah, one of those 8 people that voted to get rid of me in my own party, yeah, she's got a lot of challenges. And I'm not ruling out possibly going to help her campaign. Now, of course, I'll be the first one to say McCarthy's endorsement, McCarthy's efforts, whether people can get mad at me for saying, but he's not a popular politician. Like, I don't even know any Republican voters that were like very keen on keeping him. Really, I can only think of support from being people like Mark Levin, for example, who just kind of, wanted to have, doesn't really like Matt Gaetz as far as I can remember. So it was more just his opposition to Gaetz versus being some great diehard supporter of McCarthy. So McCarthy going out and campaigning probably won't have that much of an impact. Again, just based off what I see from people's reception to him. But there is something comedic about the idea of the former Speaker of the House, I called him failed Speaker Kevin McCarthy, didn't even last a year in that position, going, all right, I'm going to go up to the Capitol and I'm going to kind of hint at the fact that I might try and get back at those people that decided to strip me of the role I've been clamoring for years. I mean, remember McCarthy first tried to be Speaker. What was it, back in like 2015 when they wouldn't take him, so they settled with Paul Ryan as the compromise candidate. So it's entirely possible that Mace, as someone who just kind of sways with the wind, but she, and also I should say there are a lot of politicians that don't stick to their positions, but generally speaking, their staffs are pretty airtight. Like, you don't really hear about, oh, this senator's staff hates them, this congressman's staff despises them. But with Mace, it seems as if that's the case, that especially having your chief of staff, that's one of the top people running against you. That's an ultimate betrayal. But unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to be enough. I really can't say for sure. Mace is a rising star in the GOP, at least House conference. She's not as well known or as well as, I don't want to say popular, but not as good of a fundraiser as someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she certainly is increasing, and no doubt about it, a big part of it probably was due to that incident with Hunter. Are women allowed to speak? But you also have to remember that a lot of times the constituents of these people, they don't care about, shifting positions and staff member testimonies. I mean, look at somebody like, Klobuchar in Minnesota. This is a lady that ran for president after having members of her staff say that she was throwing things at them. And even though she ultimately lost, she still did very well, and I believe it was New Hampshire. Like, she got more votes than Biden, who ended up winning. So it just shows you that there a lot of times, whatever personal follies candidates may have, they sometimes have the reverse effect of actually doing anything. And also, the only person who should be able to get away with flip flopping, with switching their position from one station to the other is Mitt Romney, but he's already retiring, so we can't get him.